Yes.
Yeah.
Let me have to explain and fix it.
No, I don't.
Oh, it's time, isn't it? Microphone. And here comes Johnny. It is now 7 o'clock. It is a hump day. Yes, it is. So we're almost halfway through our work week. At 8 o'clock, we'll be halfway through. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Chris Marks.
I'm Lee Barrows.
And Kelly is still out there in Nashville. She's been auditioning. Y'all think she's out there on business, right?
Yes.
No, she's auditioning. She's been to several of the honky tonk bars, and she's up there singing. You know, she does karaoke, so she figured she could take it to another level. So she's found a band out there, and when they sober up, she'll be able to get them to play some music for her.
Wonder if it's my friend Goose Downing.
Oh yeah, Goose.
Yeah.
He's out there.
Yeah. He'll be here for the Court Street reunion.
When is that?
Do
we have
June or
one?
July.
This year?
Yeah. You're going to keep
Well,
doing
they
it.
used to, but they didn't do it last year. I don't
Did
think-
it miss last year?
No.
Was part of it the year before, and
Yeah.
it's a matter of stepping up to the plate. And
Yeah,
organizing it.
okay.
they reached out. Frank Rochelle had reached out and
That's right.
said
He wanted
wanted us to
us.
do it. I don't have the energy to do that, and he kind of got over having the energy to do it. And of course, one of the other primary backers of the whole deal was our
Miss
friend Alva.
Alva.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she passed away.
She was the one that more or less the last one got that going.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
had us all working our hind ends off.
Wow.
It was a great time, though. It really
was.
was. It was fun.
Yeah.
Great turnout. And
Yes.
lots of good people there. So, and maybe one day we can all get together and have a sit down, drag out meeting and slap some people around.
That's right. It's Rayford and Robbie and myself. We were we
did all the meetings. And
Yeah, we
did
did the meetings
whatever
and
organizing we could do. And
organizing,
got her done.
selling tickets.
Got her
Yeah.
all handled. I have no idea what's going on in the world. Has anybody looked at news since yesterday?
Well, I see that the Pope is.
He's still dead. Now, what's the news?
Oh, yeah. No, you just wiped my thoughts right out of my head.
he-
Yes, he's still
I
dead.
hate to
So-
be
Gosh,
like that,
Rayford.
but, there's really nothing new.
Explain it, Chris. He's on display now.
Well,
I know.
he's
That's
lying
what
in
I
state.
said. Thank you.
He's lying in state
Yeah.
Yes.
for the average person to go by and pay respects. Saturday will be the funeral.
Yeah.
And then around May 3rd, I believe, the conclave meets. All the cardinals will meet.
I think that's right.
And they'll go and pick the next pope, and everybody will stay standing outside the Vatican waiting to see the white smoke come out, and that means a new pope's been elected.
And what I was reading yesterday, it sounded like a boondoggle between Republicans and Democrats, or conservatives and non-conservatives, as to what they're going to do. What? When did it become political?
Well,
Probably forever, right?
Yeah, Pope Francis, rest his soul.
He
He
bugged the hole.
well, yeah, a lot of people didn't agree with some of his things, LGBTQ.
That one, yeah.
No.
All the alphabet.
Immigration.
Yeah, immigration. But he was a very humble, very
compassionate
man
to everyone. To everyone.
To everyone. Yeah,
And that's kind of what life is supposed to be about, right?
It
Whether
is.
You do not have to be LGBTQAZ.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything in between.
Oh, this morning's
Well, you
starting
do
off
not
good.
have to be a member of that organization or a practicing participant of that kind of an activity to be okay.
No.
They're just other people, compassionate.
Yeah.
You don't have to just get over your judgmental attitude.
The guy that's going to be taking Lester Holt's place on Nightly News, he interviewed a priest there and said, "What are you hoping from the new pope?" And he goes, "That he leads through the gospel." That's what.
It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
His principle.
which is interesting though, is that the Pope, before he passed away, picked an American cardinal
That's what
to
I was
oversee
hearing.
things. Yes.
What's that all about?
He just felt like and I can't remember the cardinal name. I know he was a cardinal in Texas and a cardinal in D.C. That he and of Irish descent. He was handpicked because he felt that this cardinal could run the Vatican through this time frame between now and the time that a new pope is picked. So, it's the funeral Saturday. What I found was interesting. Very plain cedar pine box.
I would have expected nothing
saw
different.
that.
Yeah, and that where he's be in the basilica, where he'll be very very small space,
Lightning.
and the only word on his tombstone will be Franciscus.
Hey, that works.
And he took the name of Saint Francis he took Pope Francis from Saint Francis of Assisi. So that's
I
basically.
like that he was a simple man and he didn't like move into something, big and glorious. He stayed within the confines and he lived a simple life.
What I didn't know until last night, he would when he would stay at hotels, he would pay his own bill.
Yes.
Really?
Paid his own bill when he was in Argentina, which is where his
Maybe he didn't
family.
trust the money handlers.
Well, could be.
I mean, you never can tell.
But he, when he was in Argentina, caring for the poor, ministering to the poor, he rode buses. He rode with the common person, and he was a common person pope.
Not to compare the two by any stretch of the imagination, but in the 1980s, a guy named Red Skelton came to Wilmington, and he was going to be there for several days before he was going to give a couple of shows, right?
Yeah.
Performances. And one of his first days there, he was going to have a meet and greet. Anybody that he chose the center court at the Independence Mall, where everybody can show up.
Yeah.
No big meeting room, no big conclave, no big hoopla. And of course, media was invited. And being part of the media at the time, I sent a crew. But rank has its privileges. And I went over too, but I carried a camera with me, still camera, because I wanted to get some pictures. But as I would carry one pretty much everywhere, I carried a big camera, Hasselblad, and everybody's waiting for him to show up. And where's this group of escorts and all that sort of good stuff? He expected that, right? That's what
you would think.
I mean, that's what the people that. The young lady to your immediate left used to do for a living. She used to escort all of these people, provide security. Some of them were wannabe stars, and they just hired them to be their, to get some attention. Right? Come on, we know that. And then we see this man walking. He's backlit, coming through one of the entrances to the mall, and he's just walking along, shaking back and forth a little bit, and he's got an umbrella on his hand, on his wrist, that he's just kind of using it as a cane from time to time, and just walking along. And it's Red Skelton
By himself.
Wow.
And so, being, the media did their thing. My reporter did his thing, and after everybody finished, I had asked him if he minded if I shot a few photographs. He said no, and I love that camera. I said, I know you have one just like it. He said, you know that? I said, yes, I know you're an accomplished photographer. I've seen some of your work, quite a bit of it. And he was. He was a musician, too. And he composed music every day, as I found out from him. We had some long conversations. And I said, kind of curious, you came to town. I know you're staying at the Hilton. Everybody does. And I said, why'd you come so early? He said, because I wanted to get around town and I wanted to see, get a look at the lay of the land. And before I had a performance, I wanted to know something about the area. Okay, so how'd you get around? He said, I caught a taxi. What? He said, I hired a taxi. And the driver was a local guy, and he just took me everywhere and showed me the sights of the town.
How about that?
It was probably
You got
nice.
to be kidding.
Doing something like that on your own and not having to worry about paparazzi and people following you. And
Can you imagine that taxi
just
driver
like,
having
taxi?
the stories that he had to tell?
Oh, imagine. I want to get back to the Pope for a minute because, it started as a joke on Twitter with a user on Twitter
Joke, but
called Yasmin. It's her username is at YCSM1N. Anyway, she had replied to an AP tweet, Associated Press tweet, showing the U.S. President, the Vice President Vance, his brief meeting with Pope Francis to exchange Easter greetings. And we all know that it was hours later that the Pope passed away. And a vessel in his brain that burst or something.
It was
it
irreversible heart failure.
Okay, yes. I wasn't sure, there was
Right.
2 different posts out on, but anyway, so after posting this comment on X, the comics, not all of them, but certain comics took away with it, and they started calling JD Vance the Antichrist and that he killed the Pope, and people were making memes and doing jokes. Well, I was on my Facebook last night for just a minute, and I have got a variety of friends, from all sides. I don't judge, but some of them were posting on there that
as though it was factual.
as if it was factual, and people were agreeing with them, saying, we know J.D. Vance killed the Pope, and I'm like, are you serious? They're trying to claim he's the Antichrist, and he went in there and he just like whatever on the Pope, and the Pope kills over, and I'm like,
I'm going to compare that to Marjorie Green's comments. Yeah, I mean, that's just stupidity. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it does not get much above the level of being stupid, does it?
No, it doesn't. And the Pope is one of the most recognized people in the world.
Well, yeah.
In the world.
Yeah. Who doesn't know who the Pope was?
Yeah.
And of course, his uniform of the day is a giveaway wherever he is.
Yeah.
I mean, duh.
he's fairly recognizable. Yes.
He would not be able to take a taxi in Wilmington.
No.
The
The Pope hat wouldn't fit, number one.
No.
Huh.
Well, I get an honor every Christmas at our church to dress up as Saint Nicholas.
Oh, okay.
Not the Saint Nicholas that children know as Santa Claus, but the Christian Saint Nicholas. And I get to wear a hat close to what the
Really?
yes.
Well, that's a heck of an honor.
It is.
Wow.
I have a great time with the children because they know who St. Nicholas is.
Right, sure.
From that standpoint. But it was interesting. A lot of people may not know, and then I'll stop. But the ring that the popes wear is broken in half and is buried with them.
Really?
Because it signifies the passing of the Pope.
Amazing.
That's it for history.
Some of the stuff on X, to be sure, not everyone was suggesting that Vance carried out some kind of unholy hit, but he certainly didn't help things. I don't think J.D. Vance killed the Pope. I think meeting J.D. Vance probably drained the Pope's will to live.
Oh, give me a freaking break.
I cannot believe this stuff.
You tell your sister to quit posting stuff like that.
What?
Not
No, my sister wouldn't do that. She's Catholic too, my sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is she? What's the difference between a good Catholic and a bad Catholic? I keep hearing
Oh my
all
gosh.
my life, he's a good Catholic. Is there a bad Catholic to compare that to?
No.
Why not just say he's Catholic?
They should. I mean, that what they
Practicing
should-
Catholic,
there you go.
or somebody
You're
who's
practicing
or
Catholic.
somebody who's laying low.
Yeah,
Got it.
There you go.
So
See, I can figure things out.
No, you did. I mean, it was perfect. And you asked. Someone asked in a phone call, "What's the difference between the Catholic religion and some of the other ones?" The Catholic religion believes in the Eucharist, and the Eucharist being the body of Christ, the whole Christ. Some of the other religions don't practice that, which is fine.
They believe in the spirit of.
Yeah.
So that to me is kind of like the basic difference. Anyway.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So
there.
still everybody believes in Christ.
Yes.
The religions.
crazy.
Yeah. No, that's good.
It is crazy, some of the stuff.
She's still reading these things.
Wait.
Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about something else then. How's that?
Okay.
I'm going to talk
Okay.
about a fumble.
Uh-oh. Does
Yeah.
it involve yellow flags?
Nope. About a fumble that turned into a major score
Okay.
for one of our enemies in football, Jacksonville High. Who's one of our major enemies?
Is it Havelock?
It's close. Yes, it's
Newburgh?
it's all of Carteret County.
Oh, all of course.
Ooh.
There's a fumble that we had turned into a major score for Carteret County. Former Onslow County manager Sharon Griffin. You had no idea where I was going, did you?
No.
I was
Became a bit fed up with a situation that was out of control. So she had all she wanted and she moved on. That's most of what I'm going to say. This week, the Carteret County Commissioners announced that they had hired Ms. Griffin as their county manager. A great move for that county. Not suggesting that Onslow isn't in good hands today. Don't get me wrong. It's just the well-publicized events that led to her resignation. Much to her credit, she has said little, but others familiar with the actions and antics of a now unseated county commissioner was causing confusion and creating turmoil within the county office, establishing what amounted to a hostile work environment. Current commissioners say that environment no longer exists. It's a good thing. For Sharon, she was quoted in a release saying she was grateful to the Carteret Board for the opportunity to use her extensive experience both as an attorney and as a manager, in her words, to enhance efficiency and transparency for the residents of Carteret County. That appointment followed a closed-door meeting with a unanimous vote to make the then interim manager permanent manager. Good, no doubt.
Yep.
The county's residents will be better off in the coming years under the leadership of Sharon Griffin.
Yeah.
Congratulations to
yeah,
them.
Congratulations.
Not to her, congratulations to them.
Right.
Carteret County made a good pick.
They certainly made a absolutely superior pick.
I saw several news stories on that yesterday, and well done. But there was one news agency that put out a story, and it started off about Sharon being picked as the Carteret County manager, but then the whole rest of the story was about a former commissioner, and I'm like, what?
Well, I had to do that, but it was because it's a fact, Jack.
Right. Yeah, I know, but
Took
I
one
was
sentence,
just,
though.
I was just surprised at the TV
I'm not.
Oh.
I mean,
news that they focused the whole thing
well,
about a former county
I mean,
commissioner.
it's okay.
I'm like,
That's the real newsy part of it. But here's what